Was sponsored by Honey. Honey is a free browser add-on available on Google, Opera, Firefox, Safari. If it's a browser, it has Honey. All you have to do is, when you're checking out on one of these major sites, just click that little orange button, and it will scan the entire internet to find discount codes for you. They can normally save you between 2 and 15%. Trust me, that adds up. There's literally no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks. Oh, and did we mention that it's free? Over 10 million people use it. And it has 100,000 5-star reviews. So if you'd like to start saving money now, go to the link in the description and install Honey.
Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Ippyclaws here. And before we get into the video, there are a few things I'd like to say. Firstly, thank you, Honey, for sponsoring the video. Secondly, a quick thank you to our supporters on Patreon. The full list will be at the end of the video. If you'd like to support us in our content, please go over there and check it out. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Before we get into this deep dive, I highly recommend watching Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, as they are both great animes, and there will be spoilers to both series in this video. Now, let's get into the video. The anime Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood are all based on one law: the law of equivalent exchange. The law of equivalent exchange goes like this. The principal idea of equivalent exchange remains true in that the end result must be of the same value to the materials you put into it. However, an energy source is required to catalyze the transmutation, and this energy is then lost without it being returned. What this means is, if I were to take 2 salt and transmute it, I would get something like 1 road salt. Another thing is, if I take 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, I get 1 air. That is the basics of equivalent exchange. Now, the story is based on 2 brothers who lost their mother when they were young. In an attempt to bring her back, they decided to use an extremely illegal and advanced form of alchemy known as human transmutation. Now, these are the things you need for human transmutation: water, 35 liters, carbon, 20 kilograms, ammonia, 4 liters, lime, 1.5 kilograms, phosphorus, 800 grams, salt, 250 grams, saltpeter, 100 grams, sulfur, 80 grams, fluorine, 7.5 grams, iron, 5 grams, silicon, 3 grams, and trace amounts of 15 other elements. These are the elements that make up a human. Now, that's the tricky part. There are multiple types of circles. So, for example, to make water, the circle would be small because of how little ingredients are needed. But to make a human, the circle is extremely large and advanced. It takes up the brothers' entire barn to make. The brothers, Alphonse and Edward Elric, correctly do everything, but what they didn't know was why human transmutation is extremely illegal. They soon find out by having certain limbs torn from their bodies and Alphonse losing his entire body. Even though they did everything correctly, what you want is not always what you get. After Alphonse's entire body is gone, Edward uses another human transmutation to bind his brother's soul to a set of armor, so Alphonse never dies, costing him his leg and his arm in total. Now, here's where the fun begins. What they thought would be their mother is nowhere close to being human. It's a monster straight out of a horror movie. The reason why human transmutation is extremely illegal is because what comes out isn't what you're trying to regain. How about we go a little in depth? Edward and Alphonse Elric live in the rural town of Razimble with their mother Trisha, their father Van Hohenheim having left without a reason. Edward bears a grudge against their father as he and Alphonse showed a talent for alchemy before Trisha died of the plague. After finishing their alchemy training under Izumi Curtis, their brothers attempt to bring their mother back with alchemy, but the transmutation backfires and in law with equivalent exchange. Edward loses his left leg, while Alphonse is dragged into the Gate of Truth. Edward sacrifices his right arm to retrieve Alphonse's soul, binding it to a suit of armor with a blood seal. Edward is invited by Roy Mustang to become a state alchemist to research a way to restore Alphonse's body, passing his exams while given the title of Full Metal Alchemist based on his prosthetic automo limbs and use of metal in his alchemy. The Elrics spent the next 3 years searching for the mythical Philosopher's Stone to achieve their goals. One such lead results in them exposing a corrupt religious leader in the city of Loa, while unaware of events occurring behind the scenes by the mysterious homunculi. Following their time with the state alchemist Sho Tucker, which teaches them a horrific lesson, the Elric brothers have a near-death experience from encountering an Ishvalan serial killer labeled as Scar, who targets state alchemists for his people's genocide in the Ishvalan Civil War. After returning to Rezemble to have Edward's limbs repaired by their childhood friend and mechanic, Winry Rockbell, the Elrics meet the guilt-ridden former state alchemist Dr. Marco, who provides them with clues to learn that a Philosopher's Stone is created from human souls. After the homunculi hinder them by destroying the hidden laboratory, the brothers are joined by Winry as they attempt to find an alternate means to restore themselves. At the same time, Mustang's friend May Hughes continues the Elrics' research and ends up murdered by a disguised homunculus, Envy, when he learned of the homunculi's plan. After their defeat at the hands of Scar, the Elric brothers decide to visit their teacher Izumi Curtis in the city of Dublith, hoping that she might be able to train them in higher forms of alchemy. This backfires when she discovers their attempt at human transmutation, with Izumi telling the Elrics how she committed human transmutation on her own stillborn child. Izumi expels them as her apprentices, though following a determined argument, she allows them to stay with her for extra training. Following this, Alphonse is captured by the rogue homunculus Greed, who in turn is attacked by Amish's leader King Bradley, revealed to be Homunculus Wrath. When Greed refuses to rejoin his fellow homunculi, he is consequently melted down and reabsorbed within the homunculi's creator, Father. Mustang fakes Maria's death and smuggles her out of the country, with Lynn's help so he can focus on the homunculi. The events that follow result in the death of the homunculi Lust, revealing that a Philosopher's Stone forms a homunculus's core, along with an upcoming event the homunculi are working towards. Meanwhile, Scar forms a small band with Xingyi's princess, Mei Chang, who also seeks the stone, and a former military officer named Yoki, whom the Elrics expose as a corrupt official. Following an attempt to capture the homunculi Gluttony, using Lynn's sensory skills, the homunculus ends up accidentally swallowing Edward, Lynn, and Envy into his void-like stomach, with the two humans learning the homunculi orchestrated Amethyst's history over the centuries. Gluttony takes Alphonse to meet Father, whilst the others manage to escape from Gluttony's stomach, eventually meeting Father. Father considers killing Lynn for not being one of the human sacrifices like the Elric. Instead, he makes Lynn the vessel of a new incarnation of greed, with the Elrics attempting to escape upon seeing Scar. Edward has Envy admit to having caused the Ishvalan civil war, while Scar meets Winry and realizes the evil nature of his desire for revenge. Soon after, with Winry used against them as a hostage, the Elrics are allowed to continue their quest as long as they no longer oppose Father. Mustang receives a similar threat with his subordinates scattered to the other military branches. Scar smuggles him out of Central City as Scar's group head north. The Elrics eventually reach Fort Briggs under the command of General Oliver Armstrong, revealing what they know following the discovery of a tunnel beneath Briggs made by the homunculus Sloth. The brothers soon learn from Hughes's research that Father created Amystress to amass a large enough population to create a massive Philosopher's Stone. Forced to work with Solf J. Kimbley, a murderous former state alchemist and willing ally of the homunculi in tracking down Scar, the Elrics make their move to save Winry, and split up with Kimbley's chimera subordinates joining them. As Edward is joined by Lynn, i.e. Greed, who regained his former self's memory, Alphonse encounters Hohenheim in Leor. Hohenheim reveals he was made an immortal when Father, once simply known as Homunculus, arranged the fall of Xerxes 4 centuries ago to create his body, while giving half of the sacrificed souls to Hohenheim. Hohenheim also explains he left his family to try and stop Father from sacrificing the Amystristan people to create a massive Philosopher's Stone, and achieving godhood by absorbing the being beyond the gate of truth on the promised day. The promised day arrives, with Father preparing to initiate his plan using an eclipse and his desired human sacrifices in order to trigger the transmutation. The protagonists, having assembled days prior, orchestrate an all-out attack on Central, with Sloth, Envy, and Wrath killed in the process, while Gluttony was devoured by Pride. Despite the opposition, Father manages to activate the nationwide transmutation once the Elrics, Izumi, and Hohenheim are gathered along with Mustang after being forced by Pride to perform human transmutation. Hohenheim and Scar activate the countermeasures put in place by Hohenheim to save the Amystrians, causing Father to become unstable from housing the absorbed superior being within him, without the souls needed to subdue it. Father is confronted above ground, where the protagonists battle him to wear down his Philosopher's Stone while he attempts to replenish himself. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now, there are a few more things I'd like to go over before we end the video. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time, so if you're interested, go into the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, I'd like to thank our $5 Patreon supporters for helping to fund these videos. Lastly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer for this video, as well as the editor for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. So, thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and hit that like button if you like the video. Until next time, peace out, mortals. Have an amazing day.